Welcome to Perry Unlikely. So we're going to touch up on a couple of things today. A lot going on in crypto, obviously, as always. The market is always moving extremely fast. And of course, you are going to get a chance, if you would like to call in. Let me know what coins you think are going to be the next 100x. Doesn't matter where you heard about it. Let me know what you think. Crypto is always evolving. But we are going to go ahead and jump into some news from this week. If you're paying attention to crypto, one thing I know that you are fully aware of by now is likely China FUD. Those of you that don't know, FUD is fear, uncertainty, and doubt. We've all seen it before. Um, so let's hop into it. I'm going to go ahead and just pop over to this article really quick. So as this article reads, Bitcoin and Ether slide as China intensifies crackdown on cryptocurrency. We've seen this by now. Anyone who is in fear or scared about China and these repeated cryptocurrency bans um, doesn't understand crypto. Um, if I'm correct, these cryptocurrency bans with China goes all the way back to like 2013. We recently just saw what happened with the miners. So they kind of banned crypto on and off, literally going back about 8 years now. Earlier this year, which was kind of tied into the reset, the retrace that we saw, Bitcoin dropping from 65,000 right there down to it was actually just I want to say sub 30,000 was miners being banned. This is going to come down as a horrible thing for China because of the fact that at the end of the day, this is technology. No different than when everyone was racing back in the day to try to be the first to get on the moon. Every nation wants to be the first to do things. So for China to just hand it over, it makes no sense at all. It makes no sense at all. And ultimately, they're going to pay the price. But before they just outright ban it, I'm willing to bet that there's another ban 3 months from now or a year from now. It never stops. Not really sure what they're up to, but China's got enough problems right now, obviously, with the housing market over there. So really not sure what angle they're coming from, but did want to point that out that that cryptocurrency ban did affect the market this week. So actually not once, but I think twice this week we've seen the market kind of take some big dives, but it's recovered well, and that's something that you have to think about. I'm going to touch on a couple things, certainly a few things in terms with some Polkadot parachains coming up. This is, I don't want to call it easy money, but if you know anything about Kasama and their parachain auctions, a lot of money was made, a massive amount, and it's essentially free. So I know anytime you hear something, potentially being free, it seems like it's a scam. This is not a scam. You lock these coins up to contribute to the network, and for that, you're rewarded with these tokens. And I'm going to get a little bit into that and explain that. And then also, what we're going to do, we're going to really break down the basics of money. When it comes to money, I think when people get into cryptocurrency, if they don't understand the basics of money, then it kind of, I don't want to say it's pointless, but if you don't understand the basics of money, then it's going to be hard for you to see why cryptocurrency is such a big deal. Excuse me, I got to take a sip real quick. So, with the current monetary policy, um, we can go all the way back to the 1970s, but I want to make this really quick. The US dollar used to be tied to gold. So always in crypto you hear, well, what's backing crypto? Well, you can ask that same question with the US dollar right now. Um, the US dollar used to be tied to gold, but how's it going, Kyle? Oh, absolutely, absolutely. The US dollar used to be tied to gold, and we came off the gold standard under Nixon. So back in the day, if you had, an amount of dollars, it was actually tied to a physical asset that was worth something. We came off the gold standard. So that's why when people say all this stuff about what is, what backs crypto, well, nothing backs the dollar either. We just simply believe it. And when the government gets to doing all this crazy stuff, giving out all kinds of money, the easiest way to explain it is if people stand in line and go crazy over Air Jordans. So let's say that they release 100,000 pair. You got people all over the country, people everywhere trying to get these pairs of shoes. That's why they wait outside, because there's only 100,000 pair. And if we're just speaking the United States with 350 million people, and granted, I know there's children, so they're not going to buy them, but just bear with me. Imagine if they made 350 million pair of those Jordans. Well, what's going to happen? It's going to cause an issue with supply and demand. There's going to be too much supply. People are no longer going to stand in line for them because they don't have to. They'll just say, I'll go get them later. And they may never go get them later. So that is the issue when you put all this money into society, as the government has continued to do, and the money printing. Now, what I will say is I believe that we make a little bit too much in the crypto space, especially on like YouTube. You always hear people talking about, the money printers rolling. Look, my take on this, and people may disagree, I do think the unlimited printing of money is a problem. It's going to cause inflation problems. But we have to remember the government has a way of getting what they want. So anyone who believes, a lot of people believe that, per se, Bitcoin, it's going to overtake the dollar. I don't believe it. I don't believe it at all. It is still the government we're talking about. So I like to look at things more like, hey, we should probably be happy that Bitcoin is here to stay. Going to the point where we think it's going to literally overtake the dollar, I don't think it's realistic. I don't think it's realistic at all. So I just make that point because, and I want to make the point about the money system and how it works, especially for people that haven't been in crypto that long. Anytime someone asks you about, well, what backs these cryptos, well, ask them what backs the dollar, and it's the same thing, nothing. The difference between cryptocurrency is when you tell me that about Bitcoin, and that's where it kind of clicked with me, because when I first heard about Bitcoin, I asked questions like anyone else, and then someone said, "Hey, there's only 21 million, and it's hardwired." That's the difference. The dollar, they will continue to print. It will get weaker over time. Inflation will happen. That's why the dollar doesn't go as far as it used to. In terms of Bitcoin and some of these, there's a hard cap. It's hardwired. So we don't have a government that can mess with it. That is the difference between crypto and what makes it better. But just because it's better doesn't mean it's going to become the US's or Canada's or somewhere in Europe their national currency. It's just not realistic to me. And I don't like to fill people full of false hope. And that's just a narrative I hear in this space all the time that, crypto is going to overtake it. And I think it's great to see El Salvador, right? A place like El Salvador, make it their currency and national currency. I think that's great. I think it's good for Bitcoin overall, but any of these large nations, it's just not, I don't know. I just don't believe it's going to happen. So what I do want to do is point out this is a massive deal. Let me click on it real quick. The Polkadot parachains is coming. When I tell you it's free money in crypto, it's basically, it's basically free money. Now, you do have to have some of these coins. You're going to have Polkadot. So other than that, though, it's basically free. So let me let's take a look. I think I've got and I actually did the Kusama. I did the Kusama parachains. I was a big believer in Kusama from the get. So this was the parachain slot auction Kusama did. So I got involved in this one, and it did really well. So I had a choice between which one did I choose? There was Karura. So I chose Karura. Now it did very well. What you do, you lock your tokens up, and when you lock them up, with Kusama, you had to lock them up for 48 weeks. Now, in exchange for that, and to contribute to the network, they actually give you Karura. So I ended up getting, I want to say it was 200 Karura at the time, and they did really well. But what they didn't do as well as was Moon River. So just to give you a good example of what Moon River did, I'm pretty sure Moon River ended up being worth about $600. So if I'm correct, you would have basically locked up what was 10 Kusama, and for that you would have got around, I think they gave you 14 each. So 10 Kusama, you lock those up for 48 weeks. In turn, they give you Moon River. Now, I didn't choose Moon River. It is what it is. Of course, I wish I had it. So you lock up those 10, and now you have 140 Moon River. Now, I've actually got a calculator. I'm literally doing this on the fly. They reached $600. So you think about that. 600 times 140, we're talking $84,000. And it was free. Now, I did not do that well. I did okay. I didn't do that well because I did not select that one. But the point I'm making is, had I chosen Moon River with, at the time, I had 10 Kusama. I maybe had 11 or something. I actually went heavier into Polkadot and actually sold some Kusama that I'd literally bought back near like $3 or something like that. And then I sold it for Polkadot. But the point I'm making is, it would have turned to $84,000. So now we have and for those that don't know, Kusama is the test net for Polkadot. So its purpose was to work out the kinks first, and then now we're to the Polkadot option, the Polkadot parachain auction. So now that that's coming, you really want to pay attention to it. And they're supposed to announce it pretty soon. Let me just look down here in the comments real quick. Yes, 84,000 would have been nice. And what I've actually, the funny thing is stuff like that used to bother me, like the fact that I did not, I wasn't able to cash in on that. But, in crypto, all you can do is do your best research. And it's crazy looking back. What I've learned is, like with the Polkadot one, I probably go half and half. Even if I had went half and half, I would have ended up with 40 grand. So, and I think I ended up with like 3 grand with the Karura, which it's like 3 or 4, which is still cool, but it's not $80,000 and it's not $40,000 either. But I expect Polkadot to be even bigger, and I can tell you what's going to happen. The price of Polkadot is about to go up. Now, anything I tell people on prices is always tied to what is actually happening in crypto. So, for example, if I think a certain crypto is going up in price, well, if Bitcoin is getting the crap kicked out of it, well, then that crypto is not going to go up because Bitcoin runs everything. But what's going to happen is this parachain auction, as they announce it, people are going to start buying more and more Polkadot. When they buy the Polkadot, obviously, it's so that they can then go and do these auctions. So then that Polkadot at the same time is now off the market. I'm not sure yet, and I'll probably do a video on it, how long you'll have to tie up. I do know with Kusama, like I said, it was 48 weeks. At least for Karura it was. Now, I'm not sure how long it'll be for Polkadot, but you also got to remember, not only will people begin buying it, but they're going to lock that Polkadot up for a certain amount of time too. The trade-off is this: if you plan on selling that before the great crash, if you will, the market reset into a bear market, I'm not so worried about that because of the fact that um, if I think I can make, like I said, 40 or 80 grand, I'm not really concerned about taking Polkadot into the bear market because actually, the way I view it, it's actually a good thing. It keeps you from selling it. You're going to want to sell as the market crashes. But if you're able to make that type of money from something, I wouldn't even worry about it. Consider a long-term hold. I mean, let's just say you have 10,000, let's say you have $5,000 worth of Polkadot and you're able to tie that up for, well, we'll say a year. You're likely not going to be able to sell. It's going to tank before you get a chance to sell it if you're thinking short term. But if that 5,000 made you 20 grand, who cares? You still ended up with more and you can sell those if you want. That's the way I look at it though. I'm always trying to look at it just from a, I'm just trying to look at it from a different standpoint. So, good way to strategize. Blind guy, his wife, their life. Thank you very much for checking out the stream. I really appreciate it. We're as TLA says, we're struggle streaming, just learning. So learning on the fly. Definitely appreciate the support. So so there's so many opportunities in crypto that people just they don't understand, and it really takes a while to get it down. I've made a good amount. I've also made some mistakes along the way, but really, you can be about as dumb as a brick at this point and make money in crypto. For example, I bought Ethereum. I bought some Ethereum for 80. I bought some at $80. I bought some at 100. I bought some at 250. I think I stopped buying it at 600. It's probably still a good buy now. I just once you get so much into them, sometimes you take a break. So I was buying VeChain. I think VeChain was probably 0.006 cent, if that, or 2 cent. I think I bought some ADA at 6 cent. So it's all going up. And what people don't understand is right now we have to look at it like it's the internet. We're so early in crypto that just people do not understand the opportunity that is in front of them. People just have no clue. I've been investing for several years now, mostly in real estate. I love real estate; it's still my first love, but I actually halted that when I realized the opportunity that was in front of us with crypto. I literally just was like, you know what? Let me take an opportunity to get deeper into crypto and focus on that. And then I kind of let the real estate funnel into crypto, and then let the crypto, do what it's going to do, do from there. But so a good strategy also is a lot of these coins when they launch, if you get into them, and I've been fortunate to get into some from the beginning, you'll pay 2 cents for them. Well, when they hit the market and go on these various exchanges, well, they're already 10 cent, 20 cent. So I've seen, it's very common for $1,000 to turn to 10,000, 20,000. It happens all the time, and people don't believe it until they see it. They just don't. So we got a blind guy, his wife, their life. Where do you buy? Like which platform or wallet? So I started out buying on Coinbase, which is very typical. That's where everybody pretty much buys. And you kind of go through this progression where you go further and further. Now, once you get away from Coinbase and there's Gemini, crypto.com is a good one, very good one. Then you go the next step where you have a lot more coins is trying to think of Kucoin. Kucoin's extremely good with great opportunities. So once you go to Kucoin and then you have like Binance. Now the thing about Binance is it's a Chinese. I think it's Chinese. I forget what their base, but the CEO is from China. Um, they're based since they're not based in the U.S. You're not technically supposed to use it. It's not that it's against the law. It's that the U.S. government cracks down on the actual exchanges, saying, "Hey, we don't want you selling to because it's unregulated. We don't want you selling to U.S. customers." Now, you can use a VPN, which that's what I've done in the past. But over time, Kucoin they have so many coins, it pretty much has everything I want to use, and you can use it on your mobile phone. But I would say, especially in America, the easiest way, bar none, is Kucoin. And I joined when I was early on, so I could learn. I joined this trading group, and there's a lot of sleazy messages. Matter of fact, every video I post, there's people that post under it. They name somebody, they got fake pictures up. Hey, go check out such and such on Telegram. So anyone trying to pull you away from a site to get you somewhere else is trying to scam you. But I did join a group that does trade, and I learned the basics of the fundamentals of trading, which has been very helpful. And it's crazy because making $100 a day is probably very, very simple. But I'm more of a long term. I won't say a long term. I'm more of a mid-term trader. So I'm looking more for like a week, 2 weeks, a month, and that's where you really see. That's where you really start to see gains. Is when you sit back, you get into it. But technical analysis really does help. But I usually focus more on fundamental analysis, which is technical is charts and things, which is very important. I've done very well off of that. I focus more though, typically off of fundamental analysis, which is whenever there's a main net launching with the coin or different events going on, you can do extremely well because that news moves the market. And this market is so small, it doesn't take anything to move. It doesn't take hardly anything to honestly move coins at this point. So let's see. I made 1,000 off SOL just for trying crypto out. Yes, and actually, Solana that's probably my next one that I will go heavy into. I haven't done it yet because I haven't decided if I'm trying to decide. We're at a place in the market, which I think is important for everybody to know. If we go based on the traditional way that things have gone since the onset of cryptocurrency, the market will eventually tank. There'll be warning signs. And by the way, one good way of looking at it is you can check out the fear and greed index, and it lets you know when we get into the 90s and we can stay there for a while, the market's very greedy and we're going to see a reset. There's so many different indicators you can look at in crypto that we've seen happen over and over again. So there are a lot of indicators you can check out that really do make it easier. I'm actually looking at maybe putting together some chart or diagram of different indicators that people can check out. And but yeah, Solana is one that I'm looking at going into. Maybe when the bull market is over, I might go in very heavy. I think that's going to be one that's going to be big. And also, I will probably buy some more Cardano. I actually heard, I think it was Crypto Jeb say that he thought Cardano was going to. I think he said he thought it would go to 200 in the future, which I can actually. I mean, that's pretty crazy. I can see 100 though. But you think about it right now. If it goes to $100, it's a little bit above two. It's probably about 230 when I looked at it earlier. That's still a massive jump. I mean, where else can you get over a 33x? It's probably about a 35x. So it's really nice. And actually, Seller is one I'm actually looking at. I've actually am going to do a video on that. So I will. I'm actually looking at that one now. And whenever I do videos on these particular cryptos, I deep dive. And one thing I'm really trying to look at as far as with the channel is really trying to find out what do people want. I don't. You'll notice if any of the videos that you've seen in mine, what you'll notice is I can do videos that get views, But what I notice is I end up doing a lot of videos that I know won't get a lot of great views, but people tend to appreciate them more. So I just try to do what people really want, to be honest. So, for example, um, I've got a video I'm looking at doing on really the easiest ways to make money in crypto. Now, funny enough, you would think that saying, hey, the easiest way to make money in crypto, people will watch that. They won't. But people, if I do a Solana video, which I'm going to do one, people will watch that. It's kind of weird. But to me, doing the video on easy ways to make money in crypto, and I'm about to give you an example of that. People will watch that. Less people will watch it. I think they appreciate it more. So a good example is this: the easiest way to make money in crypto. When we're in an uptrend, which we still are in an uptrend right now, despite what's happened in the past couple of days, basically in a bull market, you have to do the opposite. As crazy as it sounds, you have to do the opposite of what your mind is telling you to do. So, for example, Bitcoin, I don't think it was this. It wasn't this last. I think it dropped Friday, right? Yesterday. Previous to that, it dropped earlier in the week. So you always keep money on the side. It doesn't matter. I mean, a lot of these guys, you'll hear them on YouTube, and much respect to them. They're spending. They're like, I just bought 150K worth of Bitcoin. Well, they didn't work their way up to that. They started out at 1,000 or 100, just like everybody else did. So the number doesn't matter. So what you do is when Bitcoin dropped the other day, earlier this past week, I bought it. So that's a time when you have a lot of fear. I'm unfazed at this point by it. So what I did, I said, you know what? Now's a good time to buy Algorand. I had some Algorand. I sold it. I went back and bought some. Sure enough, boom. And literally, I think I made $200 or $300 by, I think, in like 2 or 3 hours. It's just that easy. And I didn't even I put like 1,200 into it or something like that. It wasn't a lot, but that quickly, boom, $300 just like that. Now, I didn't sell it. So like I said, I'm also very honest. That 300 is probably down to about 100 now. I'm still up though, but that is because that's because China, the China garbage caused that to happen. Had it not been, I'd probably be up 500 or $600 by now. You always want to look at that, but that's in an uptrend. If we're in a downtrend, that is a disastrous way. You don't want to do that. So that is the biggest thing that I had to psychologically teach myself is whenever there's a pullback, you can really do well off of altcoins, but that's the time you're having the most fear. But that is the time. And a way that you can check that out, and you'll see how it works, I guarantee you, pull up any chart you want, which you can use different sites. I think Coinage is one that a lot of people use. So if you look at the chart and you put it on there and say, okay, let's look back for like 5 months or 6 months or a year and how it's gone, you'll see these big dips and you see it come back up. So you're, like they say, that's why they say you buy the dip. When you buy the dip, you'll see it come back up. So if you think about it and you look at that chart, you're going to see that, hey, I literally could have made money every single time over the past 6 months to a year. I literally could have made money every single time the market dropped if I had just bought when it dropped and wrote it back up. So it's just tips like that people don't know unless unless you tell them. But you do have to train yourself. And the worst thing you can do, the worst thing is when you go chasing. Like I'm to the point now when you may eventually see starting out. You may see videos that say this is the last time to get Bitcoin sub 30,000. Well, and since then there's been literally 25 times. We had a chance 25 times. You can't buy into that. I mean, you'll have opportunities. You're going to have opportunities either way. Kyle says, do you think the market has gotten over the China news, or is it going to take a while before the effects show? So actually, I do think that, I personally do think that I think throughout this week we'll kind of fade away from the China news. I do think the Evergrande news with China is still going to be a problem. That's going to be a problem for a while, but I do think I think over the next 2 or 3 weeks we'll gradually move away from the China news. And what I did notice is a lot of people basically held. A lot of people didn't. A lot of people didn't buy. A lot of people didn't buy into it. Like they just said, you know what, I'm holding because they've heard this China stuff. They've heard it so many times. So, yeah, I think we're going to be fine. And I still think, and I'm actually starting to reverse course. I really thought that this would be over by the end of this year. I'm starting to think it could run the next year. I'm starting to think this market could extend. And if the market extends, if it I still think we can see $100,000 Bitcoin by the end of this year. The way it moves, because I saw it move from 10,000 to 50,000 in no time. So, but if it does that and reaches 100,000 by this year, I think it's done. If it creeps into next year, I think we still could see $200,000 Bitcoin, and ultimately in 5 years, I have no doubt. I think I think $500,000 Bitcoin is still inevitable. Crazy enough. So I'm very excited about that. Let's see. All right, trying to see it. All right, Trailwinds, $5 super chat. By the way, thank you very much. That's actually the first super chat that I've ever gotten, so I really appreciate that. Really appreciate that. So let's see. Do you think the next 3 months will be good for the top 100 altcoins? Oh, I absolutely do. There's no. Yeah, I'm very excited about the next 3 months. Usually, I mean, the next 3 months are pretty much, it should be the most exciting time we've had in crypto. The most exciting time we've had in about 4 years, honestly. And if it is, it'll be a nice time either way. I think the only way that we don't see just fantastic gains are in the event that we get some type of market news. That is the only thing I'm worried about right now is market news. Like I said, I'm not fazed by anything else. The biggest thing I would pay attention to, and what I tell people right now is the first thing I'm checking every day is other than I do check some crypto stuff right off the bat, but I check the portfolio. But outside of that, the first thing I look at is what is Wall Street doing? Because if you'll notice, and I can do it all the time, when I don't check Wall Street first, then I look at my portfolio and I'm like, yeah, stock market must be down today because it's still tied to it. So that's the first thing I check. I try to check Wall Street. And actually, I get up early. So that's why I check the portfolio first, actually, because the Wall Street's not kicking off yet. But I can see some of like the pre-market trading, but you can't, the market's not open yet. So I check the portfolio and then I'll hop over and I will check. I'll check the market to see what it's doing. And but yeah, I think over the next, and like I said, the top 100, absolutely. And you'll notice it's going to go in cycles probably. What something else that happens is this: Bitcoin they usually run in different times. Bitcoin will take off, the altcoins will kind of drain a little bit because what's happening is people in the market, their traders are moving their money back and forth. So when Bitcoin goes up, then you're going to see the alts kind of chill. And then as Bitcoin goes up, you'll see that money come back in when Bitcoin chills. And then it's just going to boost the alts. It's going to be a ton of money. And that is something that is interesting. I used to be just strictly sold on Bitcoin as far as I have to have this, but actually I changed my mind on that back in I think it was December or November last year. What ended up happening is I took a seat back and said, looking at Bitcoin and where it was at, and I forget what the price was, and then I looked at Ethereum. I made the decision. I basically sold every bit of Bitcoin I had, not all of it, but almost all of it, and I sold into Ethereum. Well, it's the best decision I ever made. So that's why you can't get so caught up on just Bitcoin because, see, the thing is I knew that Ethereum had not run like it needed to yet, and once it did, I ended up doing good, and therefore I can buy way more Bitcoin than I could have by just holding it, staying in Bitcoin. So it was just a good decision at the time. I thought I knew it would play out well. I didn't know it would play as well as it did. So it's come up. I want to say that was probably when Bitcoin was. There was a Sunday. I remember it perfectly. It was on a Sunday. Bitcoin was sitting around 600, and it broke six. I made that decision. Bitcoin broke 600 and went to 9. It went to, and that's earlier in this stream. I said that the last time I bought Bitcoin was somewhere around 600. That was that day. So I haven't even, or I bought Ethereum. Now I had a good amount of it. I haven't had to buy any more since. Now I will to trade, and I do a lot of stuff on Uniswap as well. I haven't been lately, but so that's why I made that decision, and it was just an absolutely good decision. So you got to pay attention to the market. So a lot of times, even like Solana, I really am interested in Solana, but I haven't bought it yet because I just know I saw this big run it just went on. So I just know there's other opportunities. I know there's other opportunities that will allow me to buy more Solana. So although I like Solana, if I think it's going to double, but I can put my money in something that's going to quadruple, well, I'm going to get that, and then I'll go buy a good deal of Solana and then buy something else. So you can't. It's okay. Like I have certain coins that I will not sell and I won't touch or trade or do anything with. But then a lot of them I don't worry about. Like I'm not going to sell. I'm not going to trade Cardano. I'm just not. I've made that decision early on. I've probably been over 2 years ago now that when I buy this, I'm not going to touch it. And VeChain, I refuse to, and I haven't. And it's played out well. But now when it does come time to sell, then I will. If that's the decision I make. But right now, the staking is just too good right now, so it doesn't make any sense at all. Thanks for the super chat. I definitely appreciate it. Yes, it's just China FUD like always. That is exactly what it is, and that's what's scary when you don't know. When you don't originally know about how China is when you're new to crypto. It can be scary, but it's the same thing over and over. And at this point, it makes no sense because to me, like I said, the perfect comparison, this technology is so groundbreaking. None of these nations can afford, and that's why I don't believe the U.S. is going to. The U.S. plays games, but ultimately, for the U.S. to regulate it and ban it, none of these nations can afford, and even China, maybe they'll try, but it's not going to work. They cannot afford to turn their back on this and be last. I mean, it's like saying, hey, we're not going to use the internet. You won't be able to keep up. And once that technology advances, just the visibility and things that blockchain technology gives you, it's utterly dangerous basically. So yeah, it's definitely just FUD. Let's see, thoughts on NFTs. Do you own NFTs? Yes, I do. So with NFTs, yes, I do own some NFTs. Where I've gotten most of my NFTs have been VV, the VV collectible apps. The reason I like that, and I've gotten other NFTs as well, and I'm kind of even getting deeper in that. The reason I like VV is because they licensed it. They've licensed this stuff with Marble. They've licensed stuff with trying to think who. I mean, they've got all kinds of stuff they've licensed basically. So it's even other places I've never heard of. Like they've got superheroes and stuff I've never even heard of, and it's probably that way for everybody. What I like about VV, I like Omi and the whole Okomi ecosystem. Now, some people are bigger on the actual Omi token than I am, but I'm very big on those NFTs because if you think about it, a lot of this stuff is first edition. So they're going to have Jurassic Park. They got Back to the Future already. They got Ghostbusters. They got Superman, Spider-Man, Batman. what a lot of people don't understand about these things are Comey was laying the groundwork so early. These are literally first editions. And well, I know it's easy money already because I see it. I literally have NFTs. Most people aren't thinking about, I know a lot of people use VV, but they're not thinking about it that way. If you can get two of them, you can literally sell it and make your money to pay off the one you just bought. So, for example, Back to the Future, it drops, you get two of them. People, you sell one in the marketplace, it pays for both of it. It's free. And you don't actually have to use Omi to do it. You can just use the App Store or whatever. So I really do like those because the way I compare that is it's like Michael Jordan cards or Pokemon. When this stuff came out, nobody was thinking twice about it. A couple of years from now, when you got like a first edition Spider-Man, and just think about it, at some point, like these trading cards, it's going to be a big deal. And they're on the blockchain. So so I really like NFTs. I think Cardano NFTs are going to go nuts. I think that's going to be massive. I think right now with NFTs, I like the idea of being kind of the first. So I believe right now, which I'm turning my focus to, I'm focused on NFTs on Cardano. Cardano's new. So to me, the problem with, and I like NFTs on Ethereum, but the problem is this. To me, it's like if I walk into an art gallery right now, I can say, "Ooh, this will be a classic." I have no idea. I have know nothing about art. I've seen the Mona Lisa in person, and I like it because I know it's the Mona Lisa. But could I have said back in the day that it would have been that big of a deal? No. And anyone who tells you they could have is not being realistic. So because I'm not skilled, I think some people are skilled in what will do well. Like I could have looked at Beeple's art and said, "Yo, this is going to be big," because Beeple's art's just different. So I can tell when it's that extreme. But generally, because I don't have those skills, I stick to what I do know, and that's, hey, this blockchain just launched, so we got ADA, and we got Cardano, and we also have Solana. I can get in at the ground level in these NFTs, and they're going to be massive. So if you're able to get on Solana or Cardano and find something that's like, crypto punks, I buy that all day and just hold on to it because it's good. It's just going to be big. We're just so early. It's like dial-up internet. I mean, I still remember playing Oregon Trail. Like, man, this is nuts. It can't get any better. And then we see where we're at now. So, I'm a big fan. I am a big fan of NFTs. I love NFTs. It says, let's see, blind guy, his wife, their life. I first got into Bitcoin at 7,000. That's awesome. That is awesome. Where do you think it might run up to since we've seen it as high as 58,000? So I do think. So I think that Bitcoin will. I still think this year it can go to 100,000. I definitely think it can go to 100,000. If it doesn't, if we're still looking like we're at these levels we're at, I don't think it'll take no time to get there, to be honest. If we do carry this market into next year, I think we'll see probably 200,000. Now, ultimately, I do believe it dips back down. I actually think at the end of this bull market, we're going to see around $30,000, 32,000, somewhere around there again. I think we'll go through the bear market, and it'll just kind of be a lull for, it could be a year or two. Now, I do think the next bull market we are looking at a $300,000 to $500,000 Bitcoin. I mean, I really think it's going to get there, and it's just a number thing. The thing about Bitcoin is because it's hard cap, there's 21 million, 3 million of them are missing, so no one's going to be able to get those. It's just like the internet. It's going to grow to a level where, and we're seeing Fidelity get on board. We're seeing Goldman Sachs. It's all about just more money coming into the market. And when the money comes in, it's just going to grow. And we will see $1 million Bitcoin one day. And as crazy as that sounds, you got to think about it. How many millionaires are on the planet? And what's going to end up happening is they're going to get into a pissing contest. It's going to become some rite of passage at some point. Like, there definitely are people who sit around and they have gold, right? And they have their, they have gold or whatever, and they're showing it off. At one day, there will definitely become a day where people will people will just want it to say, "Hey, I've got a whole Bitcoin." And there was a time I actually I had All right, so I'm back. I don't know what I literally dropped off mid, just in the middle of it. I literally had to hotspot from my phone, so hopefully it's clear. Certainly apologize from that. I want to shout out the lead attorney. This guy is a YouTube legend. I can't say enough about how much he's helped me. He is truly an inspiration. Says salute at Perry Unlikely for a newbie with say 5,000 to invest in crypto. What should he do? Well, as a newbie in crypto, what I would first do is I do like to get some exposure to Bitcoin. I think that's important. So a little bit of exposure to Bitcoin. I'm a little more risky, but so what I would say is I would do just based on where we're at in the market. And one question I really would always want to ask a qualifying question before, to be honest. But typically, I would ask, well, if you want to invest 5,000, what is your time horizon? Do you are you trying to make gains in the short term or in the long term? So that's something I would typically ask first because I want to find out what your needs are and what you're trying to do. But based on the short term, I'm going to go more of a we'll say 500 in Bitcoin. I would probably do about we'll say probably 1,000 in Ethereum, and then I am going to probably do somewhere between 1 to 2,000 in some of your like Algorand, Solana, some of those they're called layer ones, and then now those are base layer blockchains, which stuff is built on top of. And then after that, I am going to look at something a little more risky. Some people would say a Dogecoin. I have a different feeling about Doge, but something further down that does still have major major potential to go up. And I might even go 2,000 into something like that. So now, if I'm looking further down the road, then I'm going to do more of like a Cardano or something where I just kind of sit on it. So I hope that answers the question. But it really does come down to what you're aiming to do and how quick you aim to do it. Thanks for that $20 super chat, lead attorney. You are definitely the man. Like I say, I cannot say enough. And once again, I apologize to everyone for the stream just going out. So I guess I've learned a quick lesson very quickly. Very quickly. Always good to see. Always good to see Lead in the house. Always good to see him. That brother's on point. He truly is. Can't say enough about him. So what we got right here, we got blind guy, his wife, their life. Thanks for your perspective on Bitcoin, and hopefully I was able to get that out by the way before we crashed. To give you the full idea on that, and everything. So yeah, absolutely. I always, for me, it's all about maximizing. It is all about maximizing it and figuring out kind of where you're at in the cycle and what you're looking, what you're looking to do for sure. Absolutely. So let's see. Looking at the comments, see what we got going on. Trying to catch up a little bit. Let's see. So something else. Let's see. 1 second. Here. We got another super chat. Cherie Allen, thank you for the support with the $19.99 super chat. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate the support. Can't say enough. Didn't even ask a question, just showing support. I really appreciate that. Can't say enough about it. Yeah, so crypto's all about, really it's all about, when you're investing, it really is all about what you're trying to do and what you're trying to achieve. That's why anyone who does tell you that there's easy money, there really is easy money in crypto. That's the truth. There is, but you do have to acquire some skill. There's two ways of going about it. You either need to learn fundamental analysis, where literally, it's like I got a whiteboard. On that whiteboard, you should be putting up, hey, here's what's happening on the roadmap. coming this month. And typically what happens is, say a coin is about to launch just something major, like they're about to start smart contracts where you can have NFTs. What's going to happen is it's going to build up. People are going to buy it. And right before it launches, people are going to sell it off. That's what happens. Buy the rumor, sell the news. Excuse me. And then when it settles, you'll see people will start buying it again. So that's kind of the way it runs up. And if you don't do that, it's fundamental analysis. It's technical analysis. That is all about charts. And that goes back to either the 17 or 1800s, if I'm correct, with a rice merchant who literally started paying attention to patterns and was able to tell. And all technical analysis it's human behavior. That is why earlier I specifically mentioned sometimes you have to do the opposite. So you do the opposite because it is our human nature, to kind of freak out and sell. And that's why when coins aren't taking off, that's when you want to be buying them, because you want to buy them before they take off. Never chase it. Never chase coins down. That's the number one way you can get beat over the head, basically. You do not want to do that for sure. I've been into Cardano NFTs since March. That's awesome. Rule school. That's awesome, especially if you got in that early. And I know you said degenerate apes on Solana. That's on point. When you can get in early like that. I bought the first NFT on Avalanche. I need to buy more. That is absolutely correct. When you're talking about getting into these early ones, Avalanche is another one that I would have actually probably included Avalanche in the lead attorney's question. But Avalanche still has a lot to go, but it's kind of grown so quickly. That's why I've been kind of just watching, not in terms of NFT, but just buying Avalanche and buying ADA. I've been slow because they have moved so quickly. But those are two to pay attention to. They're just very good blockchains, very good blockchain. And it does make you sick when you look back and see. I remember when some of these things were literally pennies. It is absolutely crazy. And also, it's important to know it is easy to get on YouTube and see a lot of, because there's a lot of people that really have spent tons of time in the space. I remember news going back with blockchains and stuff like that for years now, but there is a time in this market, and I think people should be honest about it, where you can throw your money at anything. You don't have to be that bright. Now, those times those are few and far in between, but there are times when you can make money. But the bad thing is if you go around the skill, you'll get burned at some point in time. So you do need to learn at some point to learn a skill, and you also got to learn in this space who to trust, because there's some skeezers out there. I mean, there's literally people just trying to take your money. It's a shame, but that comes with anything. It comes with the dollar as well, so it's no different. But yeah, I just really I think we're in a good place right now. In spite of China's FUD, I don't really have any major concerns. I think that's going to pass and we'll be fine. Actually, ultimately, I think China, which I'm fine if China's in the blockchain space, I think ultimately them not being in it long term may be better, because they switch their minds back and forth so much. It just causes turmoil there shouldn't be. So so let's see. What do I use to buy my coins? So in terms of use, not sure exactly what you mean, but what I'll tell you, what I actually do, I buy my coins from, to make it easier, what I do, and by the way, I do pay taxes. I just want everybody to know that I do pay taxes. The way I look at it, it's just the cost of doing business. But the way I do it is this: you want to use trusted sites. Now, back in the day, people literally would send checks like overseas, and then hope to God they would load Bitcoin up, which that was like the Wild West. But now, Coinbase is trusted, crypto.com trusted. So what I do is, and there's a lot of other ones that are trusted that I don't need to trust because of the way that I do it. So for example, I believe the only two sites that I've ever connected my bank account to in crypto are crypto.com and Coinbase. Now, I buy, depending on how the market is. I used to buy Bitcoin and I used to buy Ethereum, and I would send it to the other exchanges and then use those to purchase it. Then I got smarter and said, hold up, XRP is quicker and it's cheaper. So then I started buying XRP. So I'll buy XRP there, send it over, trade that back into a stable coin. And then when you trade into a stable coin, then either Tether. I do like to use USDC myself, but I think Tether's fine. There's a lot of FUD around Tether as well. For those that don't know, these are just like stable coins. It's basically $1, and then I'll buy. Now, Bitcoin, I'm to the point now I can use Bitcoin. Bitcoin confuses people because people are so used to using the dollar value. Bitcoin, saying I bought this much Bitcoin worth of whatever is not as easy as saying I bought this many dollars worth of something. So that's why a lot of people don't. But what you have to be careful is about the only problem with using not using Bitcoin and using that approach is that you got to remember Bitcoin is safer. It's the safest crypto out there because it's been around for a long time. So now if I have my money in Bitcoin, right, and I say, okay, I'm going to buy this crypto, you have these Bitcoin pairs. The problem that happens is a lot of times people, they use USDC, they go and buy this coin, and they're like, hey, man, I just made 10%. I'm crushing it. The problem is Bitcoin made 15%. You would have been better off leaving your money in Bitcoin. So that's something I can talk about one day about the pairs. And there's various pairs, but that is how I do it. I send my coins. And like I said, I was doing XRP. Now XRP, because of the whole SEC lawsuit, is not as easy as it used to be. So, and Ethereum is expensive. So I find a low cost one. I'll buy that one and I'll send that over to the exchange. Polkadot's a good one. It's relatively cheap. Send it over to exchange, trade it into one, and then buy whatever I want to buy. And then you can send it to your own wallet. Hardware wallets are good. Ledger wallets are nice. You can keep it in the Atomic wallet and things like that. But ultimately, you got to remember, not your keys, not your crypto. So that is that's something to remember. But I just want to do a stream. Anybody else have any other questions at all? I definitely appreciate the support. Also, let me know if you have anything you want me to do a topic on, and I'll start doing these on like a regular basis. But let me know if there's anything you want me to do a topic on or something to touch on for next time, and I'll have it ready. And absolutely. And then what I hope to get to the point is, hey, if someone wants to come up and talk, I will drop a link. And this show is as much yours as mine. So I'll drop a link. You can come up. Ultimately, I want you to shill me on the coins you think are good. Because what I've noticed over time, people mention coins that I've never even heard of. I've typically heard of them, but I'm not that familiar with. And, and I'll look into it. And, man, I've come across some very good coins. I remember, and this has been a while ago, somebody that originally mentioned Injective Protocol to me. I went on to buy Injective Protocol, do really well. Did a video on it that did really well, and some things like that. So ultimately, yeah, we'll start dropping the link. We'll let people come up and let me know what coins they like. We can just chat it out. That's where I want this show to be different. I want it to involve various people from around the cryptoverse, if you will. And I want everybody to have some input. What I do want to say is thanks for the support. I definitely appreciate the super chats. These are the first super chats that I've ever received. very gracious for it. I can't say enough. I definitely appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in to Perry Unlikely. And we are just talking about crypto. Later on, I'll start to post some stuff about real estate and other forms of investment. Really, what my aim is to make you money, to help you make money and help you weave through some of the mistakes I made early on. I've sent crypto to the wrong wallet, the wrong address. Matter of fact, I sent crypto to I still don't know how I did it. I was half asleep. I sent crypto I sent it to my wallet address. I sent it to the actual, the exchange's address. And I started freaking out. But fortunately, I know people bash on centralized exchanges, but thank God, because it was a centralized exchange, it took a couple of days. It took a day or two, but they actually worked it out and gave it back. They could see that the transaction went through. I could show them on the blockchain. They gave it back. Had I sent that to a random wallet, I would have never gotten it back. So that's another way. That's something else I like about the ledger. With the ledger, you literally verify it in the ledger, and you can see where it's going. Thank you again to each and every one. I appreciate the super chats. Appreciate the feedback and everyone checking out the stream. Thank you for checking out Perry Unlikely, and I will see you next time. I do plan to post a video I plan to post a video tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that, and take care.